Hey, what's up, guys? Houston here. Let me ask you, are you a sole proprietor with bad credit and you're trying to build your business credit? Well, if that's you, I'm going to teach you step by step how to properly build your business credit even when you have bad credit. Now, the first question that you need to understand is, are you trying to get trade or vendor credit, or are you actually just trying to get access to capital, okay, to continue to grow your sole proprietorship? Now, my thing is, I always tell people, when you're operating as a sole proprietor, remember that you don't have that protection. So any type of liability that happens is going to fall back on you personally. That's the reason I try to encourage you guys to get yourself into a proper structure. I don't care if it's a pass-through like a LLC or S Corp. Our favorite is the regular corporations. But now, if you need help with that, you can click the link in the description for either of those. Now, here's the thing about it with trade credit, vendor credit, and going after business funding. With trade credit, vendor credit, those are talking about your net 30s and everything, and that's going to bring us to another point. But in terms of why would you need trade credit? So you may have like a janitorial type of business that you need to buy supplies and stuff, and you don't have money up front, right? So that's where you go into like your Granger, your Seaton, your Uline and stuff like that. Or you may have like a food truck idea, or you may have a power washing idea, something to that where you don't want to put up money up front in order to get supplies and stuff. So that's where your trade credit. Now, in terms of your cash credit, where it's mostly going to be focused on your relationship with your financial institutions, okay? So it's not going to be concentrating on how many net 30s and things of that nature that you have. So in terms of what type of bank you have, do you have the right type of bank? And this is so important, and this should be actually step number one in terms of when you establish your business. Are you operating with the right bank account? Okay, and so I always tell you, with your community banks, your credit unions like Navy Federal, like I said, yes, you can easily get business credit cards for it. But in terms of thinking long term and trying to actually make sure that all your revenue is going to be counted towards helping you build up your business credit, help you build up your business bank rating and stuff, community banks and credit unions don't do that because they don't report to the business credit bureaus, all right? Now, here's something else you also have to understand, that do you need a DUNS number, a paydex score in that 30s? With vendor credit, yes. All right, but when you're talking about like credit cards, business loans and stuff like that, 90% of the financial institutions, they're not looking at a paydex score or a DUNS number. It has nothing to do with that. They're looking at your situation about the business. So if you're trying to just totally ignore like your personal credit and stuff, there are lenders that would just look at the operation of the business without even asking you about a DUNS number or a paydex score, a net 30s, okay? So there are lenders out there. So if you need help finding those lenders, you can also schedule a one-on-one consultation, and we can actually find lenders that actually do that in your direct area, all right? That being said, going back to the right bank account where we was talking about Navy Federal and stuff like that, the main banks that you want to go with, or I would say add to your sole proprietor for banking, would be the major banks like Capital One, because they're reporting to the major business credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, Small Business Financial Exchange, and Dun & Bradstreet, right? Now you have Chase, Experian, Equifax, Small Business Financial Exchange, and Dun & Bradstreet. You have Capital One, Chase, Citibank, right? So those are your top three because they report to the most. Now you also have American Express, U.S. Bank. They also report to Small Business Financial Exchange. Now, one of the things that most people are not realizing, that Small Business Financial Exchange, it's the most important. It's more important than Experian and Equifax, okay? The reason is, especially as a sole proprietor, you may be trying to get like community grants and loans and stuff like that, and they will check your Small Business Financial Exchange file. And most sole proprietors, they're not even aware of this. All right. So that's what you need to understand. Now, what about the net 30s? Should you have net 30s? How many net 30s should you have? Well, in terms of just basically building out your business credit file so you can have a solid foundation, you may want to look at net 30s like NAV. And NAV will actually track your business credit, okay? And the reason they do that is so that you understand what are your scores and stuff. So they'll give you access to your Experian business credit, Equifax business credit, Dun & Bradstreet business credit, and they will actually give you access to a personal credit score. Now, that personal credit score that NAV gives you, it actually is a Vantage score. So it's not a FICO score, which the major banks, all right? So you just have to keep that in mind. But I put a link below so you can actually get access to your NAV business credit report, even as a sole proprietor, because it's very important. You need to know what's going on and what it is your chances of actually getting funding, right? Now, another quick thing that you need to understand, what's more important than net 30s, is making sure that you're having either daily or weekly business deposits. So if that means that you're borrowing money from your personal account and putting it into your business account because this is startup costs and stuff, it's a tax write-off. All right. So yes, you can do that. And yes, it's very important that you actually do that, because in terms of activity that's happening and stuff like that. Also, another key element in terms of funding that most people are not talking about or not aware of is choosing the right NAICS code. So making sure that your business is not a high-risk business. I know a lot of sole proprietors and stuff, they may be trying to start a real estate business, or they may be in the cannabis CBD business, you know, or they may have been in the adult industry or selling weapons and ammo and stuff like that. So those are high-risk type of businesses that you want to stay away from. Attorneys, consulting, again, high risk. So you have to make sure you're picking the right NAICS codes. All right. That being said, let's talk about some of the cards that you should start with as a sole proprietor in terms of if you have bad credit and trying to build up business credit funding. So the easiest card for you to start out with is the Capital One Spark business card, the gold one, because again, 580 credit score, but at the same time, it reports to the business credit bureaus. Then you have a secured card, TIFL, $500 secured, but it still reports to the business credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and Dun & Bradstreet. Then you also have a Bank of America secured business credit card. Now, it starts at $1,000, but it reports to Small Business Financial Exchange, and that information is siphoned over to Dun & Bradstreet and Experian. Then you also have A to B gas. Now, with A to B gas being a net 30, A to B gas is a net 7 account. So that reports to the business credit bureaus as well. And because these here cards, you can do it with your EIN. That being said, another thing for some of you guys that's thinking about going from sole proprietor to LLC or to an S Corp to or a C Corp or whatever, the thing about it, you do not want to use the same EIN for your sole prop as you would when you're moving over to a new structure. The reason is because you can cause an audit for yourself. Okay, because it's two separate entities. So just keep that in mind. Now, in terms of what about business loans? Can I get a business loan for my sole prop? Yes. Some of the easiest places that you may want to look for a business loan is in terms of DreamSpring, dreamspring.org. Okay, so with DreamSpring, their minimum credit score is a 600 credit score, okay? But at the same time, they pull TransUnion, FICO 9 to be exact. And you will, with DreamSpring, when you take out a loan, it will show up on your personal credit. But again, if you have a low credit score and you're trying to get funding for your sole prop and you're trying to expand your business, it's definitely a good opportunity. Now, that being said, if you have any other questions about business credit funding, personal credit funding, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.